So my name is Dr. Adel Quttainah. I'm a consultant plastic and reconstructive surgeon. The question is, how did I develop an interest in medical antiques? This goes way back, maybe 20 years ago, when I was a medical student and got interested in a small scarificator. It's like one of those really old devices that kind of scratches and makes the skin bleed. In the past, they thought that when you sacrifice some blood, the humors or the fluids in the body gets balanced and you'll get your health back. So that got me interested in old medicine and how medicine actually kind of developed. Ever since, I was just kind of everywhere I go, I just go to the antique markets and find all the medical devices or anything that to do with medicine. And that just got worse. That addiction got worse and worse and worse. Developed to having so many pieces and so many items and devices. Got to the point where I was just storing them, and then the idea came about where why don't I display them for my patients and the clients that come visit our centers and hospitals. So which I did, and that's how the idea of the Quttainah Medical Museum came about. This museum is located in Kuwait, Shab area, and it's the whole floor, and it's for anybody to come and visit. And the entrance, there's no entrance fee, and just come. And,
Any plans of bringing the museum here to Dubai?
In the future, yeah. In the future, I mean, we're just working out the logistics for now to see how we can move, all these items down here to this hospital and then just kind of display them here.
Could you highlight some of the pieces that you have?
I mean, the recent purchase was what's called the iron lung, That in the 50s there was this polio pandemic where a lot of kids were getting paralyzed and they couldn't breathe. So they had to come up with this big, huge tube cylinder that the patient would go in and basically spend the rest of their lives in that tube because that would help them breathe. Without this tube, or what they call the iron lung, these patients would die for sure. So that was a recent purchase that I got from London. We also have like the oldest stethoscope, which is, the stethoscope to have the auscultations of the heart. It's a French surgeon, Lenec, around like 200 years ago. This guy was shy to put his head on female patients because, so he created that. He got some cardboard paper and he kind of twisted around, made it into a cylinder, and he started that way trying to listen. And he found out not only that this kind of distanced him from the patient, but also the heart sounds were amplified and they were much better. So he came up with the first stethoscope. He made 20 pieces initially, and we have one of them in the museum.
And how do you acquire these kind of?
I mean, you just go on. Nowadays, it's so easy because you go on the net and you search and you search and you search. This particular piece I bought from New York, from a collector in New York. So I had to travel to New York, meet the guy, and get get that stethoscope. It's made out of wood.
Are they auctioned, or you just?
No, they're not auctions. Sometimes these things are never auctioned, but they are in the usually possession of dealers, also antique dealers and stuff like that.
And they must be costing a lot.
Yeah. I mean, some of them.
What's the kind of range?
I mean, that stethoscope was around $25,000. But just the stethoscope.
And what about this iron lung?
Iron lung, I was very lucky because I've been looking for an iron lung for maybe like last 5-6 years, and there was a company in England, in London, that does props, like, for movies and stuff like that, and they had 2 iron lungs. But for the longest time, they would not sell them. And until, we kept on nagging, and then they just gave us one. So it was around like 10,000 pounds.
And what is, some of the most expensive items you've bought in the museum?
I mean, there's a lot of different pieces, yeah. Stethoscope being one of them. We have a lot of old books written 400, 500, 600 years ago, handwritten, of course, in medicine that come out of Mecca and that area.
And I understand that you have some devices and tools from World War II.
Yeah. We have. I mean, we have the kits that go into the field. Where you can set up a whole operating room in the field to try and rescue all these injured soldiers and stuff. We have an interesting also display of actually swords, surgical swords. It was in the past, the bigger the surgeon, the more high-ranking the surgeon, the more detail he'd have on his sword. And of course, then they found out all this, all the crevices and stuff on the sword kind of harbored bacteria and stuff like that. So they ended up
So
killing
they were
more.
actual swords, not knives.
Yeah, like a sword, like a sword, for amputations and stuff. What I get out of it is it's like basically CSR, so giving back to the community. I mean, we don't actually charge patients for coming in. We also have a couple of coordinators there that sit and explain everything to all the guests. So it's just kind of giving back. So it's a win-win. I like collecting, and then I also like sharing all these beautiful pieces with our guests.